We did get asked if we would take a moment to let Jesus into our hearts with my cousin who is a preacher, but I figured something like that would happen, and I said, sorry, mine's just too dark. He's not going to like it in there.
Welcome to another episode of Primary Care. I'm your host, Dr. Hendricks. This episode of Primary Care is sponsored by Rugiet Health. More than just an ED treatment.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
I'm Dr. Tyler Hendricks.
My name is Todd. I'm a full-time Pilates instructor.
What kind of got you into Pilates?
When I got my first job, I took my first paycheck to the gym and got a membership. I mean, that was the first thing I did, you know, because I couldn't wait to join the gym, you know. So I've been working out, all my life, and I've been a runner, a pole vaulter, played basketball, track, and all that kind of stuff. I started having back problems. Somebody said, try Pilates, see if that will help.
Yeah.
It literally solved my back problems.
Wow.
I loved Pilates so much, I'm like, dang it, I'm going to become a teacher. Before that, I was a financial advisor.
How would you describe Pilates to someone who had never seen it or heard of it before but had maybe done yoga?
Pilates, it's a total body workout. It doesn't actually require equipment, but most of what you see, like in TikToks or whatever, it's equipment type stuff.
Right.
Because that's a little bit more impressive, the reformers and the towers and all this kind of stuff. But we also believe that you should be able to do what you need to do to stay fit without a bunch of equipment, because it's really not necessary.
I am very inflexible. That's like my biggest problem with my body, my health, in my opinion, is that I dramatically need to increase flexibility because I spend 99% of my fitness lifting weights and cardio and like 1% stretching. And so, which I know is very common. I think that's most people. And would Pilates be a good place to get started?
Oh, it's excellent for flexibility. Yeah. I mean, really good for that. Okay. And especially for those who have like shorter attention span, because we're moving. We got lots of things for you to do. And when I teach yoga, I have to calm down and try to let people hold poses because it's hard for me. I want to move.
Exactly. And do you need like an introduction type class if you were to go to a Pilates practice?
If you're doing really advanced Pilates moves, yes, you probably should get like a private session or two, but you don't have to do advanced moves to get the benefits you need from Pilates. That's the other thing.
Gotcha.
You see videos where people are doing contortionist or acrobatic type stuff. It's so unnecessary. None of that stuff needs to be done. I mean, it's great to look at.
Right, and those things go viral, right? That's what you're like. Yeah. I would say that's probably my impression of Pilates are those extreme videos that more people end up seeing because they are clickbait, or you can find yourself just kind of like, what is going on here?
Yeah, they're fun to watch. No doubt about it.
So what's the environment like in a Pilates studio? Is it similar to yoga where there's like relaxing music playing?
In most Pilates studios, you're going to die from boredom. There's going to be no music. If you come to one of our classes, it is set to loud party music. It's really a Pilates party.
Wow.
And so we're a little bit of rebel in our part of the Pilates world.
Gotcha.
We're sort of the unicorn, so to speak. And we love that. We don't want to be like everybody else.
For sure. Did you sort of come up with that concept on your own?
A lot of teachers, they might put on some soft music in the background, but it had nothing to do with the class.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought that was so disrespectful of the music. It's like, come on. Like, music should be heard and felt, not just in the background, meaningless,
I love your outfit. I love how you're presenting yourself.
Thanks.
Obviously very authentically yourself, which I'm trying to do too. I think it's always a work in progress for me. Growing up in East Texas, what was it like trying to be your most authentic self?
There was no authenticity. I mean,
I can imagine.
It was just survival.
Same.
Just try to fit in, bide your time, and as soon as you get out of high school, you can be free from all this stuff. You know, I was religious, and I didn't want to be gay. I went to a religious college just in Pasadena, California.
Wow.
And my degree was in theology. So
incredible.
When the Bible thumpers start trying to tell me stuff the Bible says, I'm like, I know what the Bible says.
Right.
And it doesn't say that,
I went to a private Christian school growing up. I was constantly trying to suppress my authentic self, and that caused a lot of trauma for me. When you're at a certain age, certain things are more important to you, like my family and my friends at the time and school. But the older I got, the more important I was to myself. And so trying to balance, who am I? How do I still fit in? And then trying to figure out how you fit into that puzzle, especially with religion. What's your relationship with religion like now?
It's over. I mean,
Same.
I have no use for it.
Same. I went to South Georgia where my grandma's from. We're a very conservative Southern family, and she just passed away. And so this last weekend we went there for a funeral, and my entire family is evangelical. So interesting.
Yeah.
But I will say that I got up and I'm, authentically living my life as I feel is me. And my partner came of 4 years, and we sat in the front row, and everyone treated us with a lot of respect and kindness and love. And I was actually shocked. We did get asked if we would take a moment to let Jesus into our hearts for a brief period there with my cousin who was a preacher, but I figured something like that would happen. And I said, sorry, mine's just too dark. He's not going to like it in there. He didn't like that joke.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still really in this process of trying to understand religion and spirituality. I know a lot of my friends are very spiritual and they're not religious, and they're always trying to tell me, there's a spiritual side to yourself. And for right now, I just don't really embrace that because of my trauma with still digesting religion. So I try to just avoid all of that for at this moment.
First, sorry to hear about your grandmother's
Oh,
death.
no,
I
thank
know
you.
that's tough. My grandmother's funeral was also kind of a turning point in a lot of ways for me too. My grandmother was not okay with my being gay, but she still loved me, and she never turned her back on me.
Yeah.
And she always made sure I knew that she loved me, and just didn't like that I was gay.
Yeah.
Some of the other family members didn't like that I was gay and separated themselves from us, but my grandmother did not do that.
Right.
And she always was happy to see me. Pretty sure of all the grandkids, I went to see her more than anybody else because, overachieving gay,
I know.
So
yeah, I
but
can relate to that.
when I went to my grandmother's funeral, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
My partner's coming with me to the funeral. I mean, I kept my partner away from my grandmother because I knew she couldn't really handle that.
Yeah.
When my grandmother passed away, I was like, okay, everybody, that's it. My partner's with me at all family activities now, and if you don't like it, too bad. But for the most part, they're pretty tolerant. I mean, they're not going to make a big scene.
Right.
So
with my grandma, we had a very interesting relationship. Right when the pandemic started, I was trying to isolate her from going out. So me and my partner started to go visit her, and she really, really loved him like immediately, which was bizarre. I didn't even tell her this is my boyfriend. She kind of got it.
Yeah.
But she would always be like, if I would call her, where's Gabriel? Is he with you? Is he driving? Where's he doing? Just always checking on him before I end the phone. Make sure you tell Gabriel I love him. We would come over and she would just talk about him like he wasn't there, just so infatuated with how happy that we were, and she could see how happy we were together. She's really the only family member that did that, especially early on. But her perspective as being a 88, 89-year-old woman from the South, very Republican, Trump loving, literally went to meet him in person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother story. What I take away from her whole life, she was extremely active. She would walk 3 to 4 miles a day, especially in the mall as an older woman.
Oh, yeah.
But COVID unfortunately closed the malls.
Oh, yeah.
And so she was bound to her home, and that was where she just started losing it all. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest will eventually end in rest, and so keep moving, everybody out there. And back to Pilates with keeping to move.
Oh, yeah. That was the thing with my grandmother is we'd always kind of get on to her because she was still in her 90s out watering the bushes and the grass and picking weeds. And then every once in a while she'd kind of have a little fall or whatever. She actually would just amaze me. She'd be in the kitchen and she could open up the oven, balance on one leg, and reach something else from across, the other. I'm like,
yeah. She's like, I've been doing this for
you're
years.
Balancing on one leg there, and people in yoga can't do tree pose for 2 seconds.
Right.
But she was, basically doing a half moon pose in the middle of her kitchen,
Incredible.
and it was crazy.
Yeah, that's where you get it from.
But I mean, I do.
Hey folks, my podcast Primary Care is sponsored by Rougiette Ready, the latest pharmaceutical advancement in erectile dysfunction. This is a sublingual compounded treatment using 3 ingredients, sildenafil, tadalafil, and apomorphine, and it works up to 5 times faster than pills and chewables. We give you a promo code Primary Care for 20% off your first order and free shipping. Now, let's get back to the content. And that's the thing too, I think about my grandmother getting sick and know her upcoming demise was going to happen. So I felt fortunate in the sense that I got to plan ahead. I got to spend time with her. And there is the unfortunate part of watching her get to that place where she's not with us anymore. So it's bittersweet, but we got the call. I was really mentally prepared, thinking that I'm stable. This is not going to affect me emotionally. I knew this was going to happen. And I got up there to say my speech, and I just bawled like I couldn't even, I don't even know. My partner's like, I've never seen you like that. I'm like, me neither. It's a lot. And and it's funny, my grandma, I don't know if this is similar to how they do it in Texas, but my grandma was planning her funeral for like 20 years. Oh, yeah. She had already put the deposit down. She already had it all planned out. Every time I'd see her, she'd like tweak her funeral plans to me verbally. I'm like, we're just a little far ahead here, but my mom does the same thing. I'm like, you're not going anywhere yet. Yeah. I don't know if it's a Southern thing, but
I mean, my grandmother, she actually has my mom's plot set ready too, you know. So that was done a long time ago.
And then my partner from Brazil, he's like, y'all are crazy. We don't even talk about death there. Like, it's not even a thing. I'm like, I don't know. It's just the way things are done here. But I want to be very prepared for my elder years. Like, I want to know where my go-to hospital is going to be. I want to know, am I going to have a physician that's going to know me there? Because all of those things really do matter. Am I going to go to a nursing home? Is that something I'm interested in? What would I do if I was given that option? I don't think it's great to think about these things because they're stressful and kind of negative in some light. But looking back on what she had to experience and my family did, planning ahead for your later years and your post-retirement, what's going to happen if something goes wrong, is I think really beneficial, because the more you know ahead of time, the better you'll be off.
And the more you can plan, the less burden it is to your family members.
Right.
I've been on both ends of it where somebody in the family died and nothing was ready.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
Boy, you have to step in and just do everything.
Yeah.
And then I've been in others where it's like it was all
ready to go.
The second option is better.
Yes. Definitely don't want to plan my own funeral, but I think it might just, be a better option for everybody involved.
Well, we're following you on Instagram, and we're reposting some of your stuff, too. So, and we appreciate what you're doing as well.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
That. Yeah, we can do this together. We gotta build this community and make sure everybody feels included.
Yeah. Well, you're doing the Lord's work.
That's right. Oh God, that's all my mom has always wanted for me in my life. Do the Lord's work.
You're doing it right now. Yeah. So,
well, thanks again. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Add us on Instagram at Primary Care Pod. Catch up on past episodes and don't miss out on new ones. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify at Primary Care Pod.